channel, welcome back to another video. I'm Jessie E, this is Ravenclaw, and you're watching. Today's video is going to be very special. I'm going to be unboxing this wonderful promo box for Daughters of NRI sent to me by NRI Press. And also, because of the controversy surrounding the book Daughters of NRI, I'm going to be talking about the issue of whether or not black girls on book covers sell. Daughters of NRI is about two twin goddesses. It is a Nigerian fantasy written by a British Nigerian woman about these twins that are separated at birth who find out that they are goddesses. I'm gonna get right into the unboxing. I obviously have already taken the book out of the box and been reading it and loving it. And right after we do the unboxing, I will talk about the controversy that has been surrounding this book, which comes out in October, by the way. So I was really pleasantly surprised that NRI Press agreed to send me another box because they actually already sent this to me, but the box kind of exploded and it got ruined, so I asked them to send me another one, and they so kindly did, which I really appreciate because NRI Press is located in Canada and shipping is expensive. So thank you so much for sending me another one. This is what you see when you open the box. So the first thing I am pulling out is this awesome Daughters of NRI bookmark that is signed by Reni, and on the back it says, "The trick is incredibly simple. To know you have power is to have power." And that apparently is a quote from the book. Next, we have a Nigerian dictionary. This is a kind of glossary of the terminology that appears in the book. This I really like because one of my pet peeves when I'm reading a book that doesn't center white culture is when the author spends way too much time kind of explaining all of the terminology in the text. I much prefer to just have a glossary of terms in the back or to do my own research in Google if I need to. So this has translations for all of the African words that are used in the book, which I'm super excited to study because I'm a huge freaking nerd. Then there's this beautiful letter from Reni. We also have this gorgeous feather, which is going right on my bookshelf. We also have this gorgeous card, which is going to be my new bookmark. And on the back, it says, "Love from NRI Press, a black female-owned independent publishing house." I love that. Oh, this one is even cooler. We've got a smaller feather, which I'm really excited about. Then there is this shirt that says Soul.
I am gonna wear the crap out of this shirt, you guys.
We've got some gorgeous vines, and y'all know I'm an earth sign and I love decorating my house with vines and plants, so this is going up on my wall as well. And last but not least, I love that this candle is like brimming to the, like all the way to the top full. I love that. Oh, that smells really good. It's called Bougie Perfume. It's handmade and natural, amber, black pepper, rosewood, labdanum, and vanilla. I have no idea what labdanum is, but this candle, this smells really freaking good. And this is what the art looks like on it. Wow, these are candles that I would actually buy, and I love the packaging for them. And then last but not least, we have our gorgeous book. I do want to say that this is one of the most well thought out and well-rounded boxes I've ever received. Not only do you get like a note from the author and some cute like aesthetic things such as flowers and vines, but you also get like the nice dictionary and the merch and the candle. Like it makes me so much more excited to keep reading this book. And speaking of the book, let's talk about what's been going on with Daughters of NRI. The author, Reni Amayo, got some feedback that the cover for this book was too loud. Something I find very ironic given that it uses almost exclusively dark imagery. But what she did was redesign the cover, and it is bigger, bolder, and more gorgeous and unapologetically black than ever. Seriously, I cannot wait for a finished copy of this book. I cannot wait for this cover. Can you name a prettier cover that's come out in 2019? Because I most certainly cannot. And I just love that she refused to back down from representing like two black girls unapologetically on a book cover. I think that is so freaking badass. But it does start this conversation about whether or not covers that have black girls on them are sellable to a wider audience, aka a white audience. The first thing that I want to say is that the use of loud to describe Daughters of NRI is a very strategic and interesting choice of words, especially because black girls have traditionally and presently been described as being loud, angry, obnoxious black girls, right? Like we've all heard black women be described in this way. And so the use of loud to describe a cover with black girls is very, very intentional to me. There was a quote that I read from a black writer many years ago, and I don't remember it completely, but it said something like, "The reason that we are loud is because we've been silenced for so long." And a lot of times the vibrancy of black girls, the vibrancy of black culture gets punished for being loud, and the main undertone of that punishment is that we don't want blackness to be visible. We want it to be easily foldable and forgotten about in a corner. We want to keep black folks, black girls, and black girl magic in its place. And we expect to have this reinforced even on books where black faces are the center. We expect these books to be black, but not too black. And so something about this cover, having two dark-skinned black girls be the center face of it, is too black for some people. And we're gonna talk in this video about why that is, and whether or not it's true that this cover wouldn't sell. Years ago, a book came out called Liar, and it was a story about a black woman, and it was written by a black woman. And the author, whose name is Justine Larbalassier, got into a notorious fight with her publishing house, Bloomsbury, about how, when the book was released, the cover featured a white girl. And so we had a white girl on a book with a black main character by a black author. And Bloomsbury absolutely refused to change the cover. They overruled Justine because authors don't really get much of a say in their book covers. And it became a huge issue. Eventually, Bloomsbury retracted and agreed to put a black girl on the cover of this book. But this in and of itself is absolutely not an isolated incident. Every single publishing house has been guilty of whitewashing their book covers. And it touches on this idea that blackness isn't relatable, it's not universal, but white faces and whiteness is relatable and universal. So even if a book is about a black person, it's easier to put a white person on the cover because more people can relate to that image. And it touches on the societal expectation that everybody be able to relate and be comfortable with white people. We are expected to identify with the experience of whiteness because that is the default experience. If someone comes up to you and says, imagine a person walks into the room, 9 times out of 10, the person that you're going to imagine is going to be a white person. You're not imagining somebody who is a person of color, and chances are you are not imagining a dark-skinned person. We are taught and trained to see white people and to be uncomfortable if white people aren't present in our media. But what's interesting about this is that we are not taught the reverse. We are not taught to be uncomfortable if spaces are only white, if the publishing industry only features books with white people on them. We are not taught to identify this as something that is troubling, and we are most definitely not taught to call it out and to change that. We are not encouraged to change the status quo. Although that without a doubt has been happening, especially within the last 3 years alone. I did go to my bookshelf and pull out some books that have unapologetically black girls on the cover and are all books that have had a good amount of hype around. We have The Queen of the Conquered by Kaysen Colander, War Girls by Tochi Onyebuchi, Kingdom of Souls by Rena Barron. As I was editing this video, I found out that Kingdom of Souls now has a movie deal. Michael B. Jordan picked it up for his production company. So obviously it's selling quite well. House Girl by Michael Doncourt, Let's Go Swimming on Doomsday by Natalie C. Anderson. This is still one of my favorite covers of 2019. And then we have With the Fire on High by Elizabeth Acevedo and The Bells. And no matter what your political leanings are, you can't deny that those book covers were all gorgeous. My point is to say that some of the most beautiful covers that have been released within the last few years feature black individuals. I was reading an article on the topic of black books and how they sell, and I want to share with you this quote. Editors have told me that their sales departments say black covers don't sell. Sales reps have told me that many of their accounts won't take books with black covers. Booksellers have told me they can't give away YAs with black covers. Authors have told me that their books with black covers are frequently not shelved in the same part of the library as other YA. They are exiled to the urban fiction section. And how many bookshops simply don't stock them at all. I share that to emphasize that this is absolutely not a question of whether or not black books sell as well or better than books with white people on the cover, but to emphasize that this is actually a systemic issue within not only the publishing world, but in the marketing world as well. Yeah, it's easy to say that books with black people don't sell well if those books are getting pushed to the back of Barnes & Noble, if they're not being shelved at all, if they aren't being given the same hype and marketing promotion as the white books that publisher is carrying. Yeah, of course it's not gonna sell well. If I have a product and I put it on the bottom shelf in the back of my store, chances are that product is not going to be highlighted, and it likely will not sell. Actually, there's no way it would sell, as well as the products that I have put out front that are frequently being advertised and pushed. So in order to talk about whether or not books with black people on the covers sell well, we first have to equalize the representation and the marketing of these books with white books. And that has not yet happened. It's absolutely changing, yes, but you can't say that black books and white books are pushed on the same level within the publishing industry. It's changing, but we're just not quite there yet. And so I love when people who, mind you, do not work in research, do not know the research surrounding book sales, like to kind of white-splain and say, oh, well, the reason these books aren't selling well is because, black Black books don't sell well. And people will say this even though they themselves have incredibly little knowledge of sales, the publishing industry, and how research actually works. I say this as somebody who is in the sciences, has conducted and published my own research with a cohort. It is easy to create a statistic, but statistics in and of themselves are not useful if you do not have context surrounding those stats. We like to utilize science as a way of masquerading our own prejudice and beliefs. So one person will say, yeah, these books don't sell, even though books like The Hate U Give were on the best-selling list for pretty much an entire year. So you'll have usually white people denying that these books are able to be sold at all, even as books like The Hate U Give absolutely smashed the bestseller list. We have the same exact rhetoric going around when the Jackie Robinson movie was trying to get made. People were saying, oh, well, we want to make movies with Black people, but they won't sell well. There's been a wealth of films that center Black voices within the last 5 years, and those films were some of the best-selling and highest-grossing films of all time. So it is 110% a myth that books with Black people on the cover will not sell. But it is true that people who have prejudiced, preconceived notions about the sellability of books with Black people on the covers are the exact people that would not buy those books themselves. Absolutely nobody can talk about the sellability of books with Black folks on the cover until we equal the playing field in the publishing industry. Even books that have white people on the covers will not sell well if they aren't given the proper marketing and promotional material. Nothing will sell well without that product actually being marketed. I personally, as somebody who is Black, who has enjoyed seeing all of the push of these Black fantasies that are coming out and other Black-centric narratives coming out, I personally believe that these books are selling well, that people are interested, both Black and non-Black people are interested in them alike and want to spotlight and celebrate them. I think that that actually is happening. Honestly, that playing field is never going to be equal if we don't actually put our money where our mouth is and prove all of these bigots wrong. As I demonstrated earlier from that quote, it's not just about how these books are selling, it's about where they get placed and if publishers are even willing to hire Black authors and buy books by Black authors in the first place. And the last thing that I will say is that we have this subtle expectation that these books, if they do get to exist, need to be digestible and easily understood by white people. And I think that that is absolutely the wrong way to go about it. You should be able to kind of have a book with two unapologetically Black girls on the cover and not have that cover be criticized as being too loud. The only way that we are going to grow as a society is if we learn that people don't need to fit themselves into a mold of whiteness, that whiteness is not the default, it's not the standard, and it's fucking totally okay to have dark skin and a big afro and wear lots of jewelry. That is totally fine. It's okay to not look that way. But this expectation that all of our experiences need to be easily digestible to the majority is troubling, because at the end of the day, Black people are not defined by their relationship to white folks. Black people are defined by their own history, their own heritage, their own beliefs and cultures, which are spread out across a huge diaspora. This is one of under 5 times that I've ever seen a girl this dark on a fantasy book cover, and the absolute only time I have ever seen a girl with a big ass afro on the cover of a fantasy book. And that is something that we need to be celebrating, not saying it's too loud. So this book comes out in October.
Buy it. Buy it, buy it, buy it.
Support these authors, support these books, because that is the only way that it is going to change. And if you find yourself at a Barnes & Noble or at your independent bookseller and you notice that the Black books are getting put in the urban fantasy section, if you notice that they are on tables in the back instead of being up on the front with all the other books, bring it up to the manager, say something. This is the only way that we're going to change. Write a letter, send an email, do what you gotta do, leave an anonymous note. It doesn't matter, but if we're not willing to comment on these things, they will never change. And that's what true allyship is. True allyship isn't just accepting that and appreciating that these books exist. It means that you are speaking up for these books and actively doing the work to support them. And support can be a number of ways. Make sure that your library stocks these books. Make sure that you are sharing these books.
Hi, Editing Jessie here. I forgot to add my word of the day, so if you made it this far in the video, comment down below with the word loud.
That's gonna do it for this video. If you liked this video, please give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I would love it if you became a part of my dapper family. Feel free to hit that notification bell so that you never miss any content from Bowties and Books. And if you'd like more daily content from me, follow me on my Instagram, Bowties and Books, because I basically live and pay rent to Instagram at this point. So until next time, stay sharp, and I will see you in my next video.